and good day, everyone. Welcome back to the show. My name is Sean David. Thanks for tuning in. Today's special guest was Dean Shooting Star Ramsey in No Retreat, No Surrender. Dale Jacoby, welcome to the show.
Welcome, my friend. How are you?
Good. Good morning. Dale, we started to talk a little bit before the interview, but we started just to record now because you have so many great stories to tell. But let's roll it back for the guys that don't know. What is your martial arts background?
I have great background in the sense that I've been blessed to train with every major superstar in the art of karate and fighting. My go back to Benny the Jet Ukitas, which everybody knows. He is my sensei, my first and my mentor.
Incredible, man. You're talking about No Retreat, No Surrender, which is definitely one of my favorite movies of all time. And I'm not only talking about the 1980s, that movie. I grew up on that movie. I quote that movie even until today. But what I was always curious about, how did you get involved with that movie?
It's a great story. They say when you want something and you chase it, you'll never get it. So when you're not looking, things happen. So it goes back to the beginning days of the Jet Center, 1983. The Jet Center was a home of Benny, and it was world renowned. So one day, I'm working out. I'm hitting the bag, and I could feel people looking at me. And I look up on an overhang, and Benny and Corey Yuan, who was the director, and Keith Steinberg, who was the writer, they were staring at me. So Benny motions me over, and I come over there, and he introduces me, and they say, hey, we're doing this movie, blah, 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 with Jean-Claude Van Damme. At that point, Van Damme was, no one really heard of him. I was like, oh, okay, who is he? So they started to explain a little. They go, we were looking at you for the lead role.
Interesting.
But your character is just way too strong. But we know that we want you in this movie. We're going to write something in for you. I'm like, okay, that's great, but I don't want to do movies. Benny looked at me and goes, no. Looked at them and said, he's going to do it. So it just took off. It just took off from there. And you said in the beginning in our talk that you're from Germany. And like I told you, I train a family from Germany for like 4 years. And when he first met me, he said, oh, my God. He goes, I grew up on this movie. He goes, we used to go watch it at night, and people would dress up like you, quote things from the movie. And it's such an honor to be with Dean Shooting Star Ramsey. He called his whole family. He called friends, and I'm talking to them. But like I told you, that for whatever the point of this matter of this movie is, it is some kind of cult movie. Like, people will call me and tell me that this is their favorite movie, that it dictated their life in martial arts, and it's the reason why they got the martial arts. And it makes me feel so good that who would have thought that this movie 30 years later would have such an impact. And the movie was made for pennies, like pennies off the dollar, but it had such an impact. Like, who would have thought? Who would have really thought? So yeah, that's kind of how this movie it grew legs and started running, and to this day it's still running, and it keeps gaining speed.
Now, what we also talked about a little bit before the interview, which was kind of interesting, your role of Dean Ramsey was never supposed to be that big, but still people, remember you mostly because of the way how you portrayed Dean Ramsey. Was it fun for you playing a bully?
Well, I mean, they say, acting is to portray character, and I got to portray this character, and I really didn't know anything about acting, but I kind of put my own spin on it, and I don't know, it was so much of a bully. Yeah, he was a bully, but he was very arrogant and cocky.
Yes.
So I mean, I think back in those days, I might have been a little arrogant. For whatever reason, people tell me a little cocky, and I said, but don't get that twisted. That was confident. They would go, yeah, you were confidently arrogant and cocky. I go, but it kind of was, it was easy to do. And that movie opened up doors for that character. Like I played Dean Ramsey in a whole bunch of movies, but only it wasn't Dean Ramsey, it was different names. But if you go back and you watch like movies called Ring of Fire 1 and 2, and you watch and you break the character, I am the same character, only Dean is now Brad.
Yeah.
So it was kind of, I guess I was cocky, arrogant, confident.
It worked perfect for the movie.
It worked perfect. It brought us to this conversation.
Yes, absolutely.
So, yeah.
Now, you mentioned Jean-Claude Van Damme a little bit earlier, and now what many fans don't know, or most fans don't know, is that Van Damme, especially in the 1980s, had a reputation for not being too precise with his kicks and injuring people during shooting.
You want to go there, huh? You know the story, right?
I got to hear it firsthand. I got to hear from somebody who was actually there, because there's so many people who actually write stuff on the internet and say, yeah, I heard it from that guy who heard it from that guy, but you were actually there.
Well, okay, I was there. And, I now, he was cocky, arrogant, but I think he wanted to be cocky and arrogant. But, he had to create that persona of that character and just his persona going into it. So we all know who Peter Sugarfoot Cunningham is, arguably the greatest technical kickboxer of our time, of any time. And he's poetry in motion. So he was doing a fight scene with Van Damme, and he was supposed to hit Petey with a jump spinning hook kick. And they walked through it a couple times. Now remember, this was a cheaply done movie, so they weren't going to shoot it from different angles, and they weren't going to do 100 takes. It was pretty much, let's do this and get it done. It's like the part of the movie when I get kicked out of the ring, and I actually get kicked out of the ring. Well, they put up about 50 boxes, and they says, okay, we're going to kick you. He's going to kick you through the ropes, Van Damme, onto the boxes. I'm like, what? How many times? He goes, oh, you just got to do it one time. I'm like, okay, well then let's do it good. So yeah, that was their thought. So they went through it a couple times. They rehearsed it. It was fine. Something about when you actually go and that camera's turned on, sometimes you get caught up in the moment. Well, he got a little too caught up in the moment, and he went just an inch because Petey wasn't moving. Petey's a fighter. Yeah. He's not worried about that. And Van Damme just went a little too much in, turned his hip over just a little more, and he caught Petey. Boom! And Petey went down. And we had to break out that smelling sauce. And he was out, for a couple seconds, and he woke up in a glare. And, again, Van Damme didn't mean it. I hope he didn't mean it. But, Petey being the champion and the constant gentleman he is, took it in stride. But I really don't even remember if Van Damme even said, I'm sorry. I mean, he really didn't talk to anybody. He just kind of stayed in his part and, was very standoffish. But again, nobody really at that time knew who he was or who he was going to
become,
who he was going to ultimately, be. And so it was just like, oh no, it was just kind of one of the moments. I did the fight scene with him. Again, I'm a fighter too, so I liked the contact. I didn't mean, I didn't mind if he really actually touched me or whatever, but I didn't have no problems with him. But I've heard those stories, and I just think that he was just trying to create such a persona and an image and that character, and it went a little wrong. But yeah, that happened.